Alright friends, it's Teen. I'm back with another video, and this was brought to my attention in my community section. Somebody posted this. Take a look at this video by you-know-who, man. Menno Helmsman again. This asshole. Anyways, we're gonna do a reaction video to this fake guru. Whatever he is. Whatever. I really don't care, but anyways, I'm going to react to this video. So this so-called lifting gym science whatever slave, fitness slave, and who knows what else he's doing fakely. I can't even tell, slave. I'm going to react to it. So Menno Helmsman says, this is what soreness does and does not tell you. Okay, soreness. He's doing a video on soreness, but then he mentions muscle damage. Has nothing to do with growth. Well, which is it? He has to make up his fucking mind, but he can't make up his goddamn mind. That's his problem. He doesn't really bring proof out. See what I mean?
What does it mean if you're sore after a workout? Can you train through this soreness? Does it mean you had a good workout? What does it mean if you're
I don't know. What do you mean sore? Do you mean sore after your workout or delayed onset muscle soreness? Well, in science, we already know delayed onset muscle soreness is associated with what? Eccentric exercise. And what's eccentric exercise associated with? Muscle damage. And what's muscle damage associated with? Growth. So there you go. One thing leads to another. Ultrastructural muscle injuries leads to what? Growth. Ultrastructural changes. Christ. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out.
Never sore? Most people's first intuition is that soreness is related to muscle damage.
Yeah, if you got sore right then and there, let's say you just worked out and you got kind of sore. Yeah, that's I don't know what that is. He says muscle damage. Now hold on.
And that muscle damage is related to muscle growth.
Yeah. Delayed onset muscle is associated with muscle damage, and it is associated with muscle growth. Yeah. Yeah.
Surely, you worked hard, now you're in pain, you must be growing, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not everybody in the gym is getting that because 99.9% of the people are lifting concentrically. It's only associated with eccentric exercise, that pain. That delayed onset muscle soreness is associated with eccentric exercise. And muscle damage is associated with eccentric exercise. So delayed onset muscle soreness and this damage is associated with eccentric exercise. I can prove this. Because I don't give a shit what he says. He's full of shit. Here's one thing I brought up, and I posted in my community section already. Yes, muscles need to be damaged or exercised to activate satellite cells. These cells are dormant until muscle is injured or used. Explanation. Muscle damage. When a muscle is damaged, the extracellular matrix you see is damaged, releasing growth factors and activates satellite cells. Yeah, growth factors. That's what it does. Muscle damage activates growth factors. He says it doesn't. Exercise activates SCs through visual signaling pathways. What happens after activation? SC proliferates, differentiates, fuses with existing fibers with each other to create what? New fibers. But he says muscle damage doesn't build muscles. Okay. It has nothing to do with any of that. Some SCs return to the basal lamina where they can be self-renewed. What controls the activation process? Myogenic regulators, factors, ... So let's see. Eccentric exercise. Eccentric. Yes, eccentric exercise is strongly associated with delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS. And what else? Muscle damage, as it involves lengthening muscle while it is under tension, which can lead to microscopic tears in the muscle fibers, causing soreness and what? Inflammation after exercise. This is why activities like downhill running or lowering weights during resistance training often result in significant DOMS. Oh, it's related to muscle growth. Mechanisms, DOM, symptoms of DOM, benefits of eccentric training. Despite the potential soreness, incorporating eccentric exercise into training program can promote muscle growth and strength gains as it challenges the muscle fibers in a unique and challenging way. Mr. Menno. But Menno doesn't know anything anyways. A unique feature of untrained muscles is that eccentric exercise that untrained muscles get stiff and sore next day due to muscle damage. A systematic review of meta-analysis found that engaging in preconditioning activities, well, yeah, preconditioning can stop that stuff. We're not doing that. We're not going preconditioning. And if you go to PubMed, everything is about eccentric exercise being superior to concentric in every way in muscle growth and strength and everything. Bro, it goes on forever. Eccentric, 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 eccentric. There's a whole list. It goes on forever and ever and ever. Exercise-induced delayed onset muscle soreness and changes. There's even a section on DOMS, bro. There's a section on DOMS. DOMS Part 1. It tells you ultrastructural muscle injuries, the symptoms, this, that. It's associated with cells, muscle, building, everything. So Menno is full of shit. I just destroyed Menno. Poor Menno.
Wrong. On both counts. Life isn't fair. Hard work does not always pay off.
Yeah, yes it does. Only eccentric exercise builds muscles. Concentric doesn't build muscles. That's why he's upset. He's trying to convince you that it doesn't. See, these are the channels, these are the fake gurus that they want you to fail. They want you to believe that muscle damage doesn't build muscles. Well, what does build muscles then? Here's the question I have for all of you. If muscle damage is not associated with building muscles, then what builds muscles? How do muscles build? I know. By eating glycogen and by sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So increasing the sarcoplasm through glycogen will build muscles. Is that it?
And being sore does not mean you had a good workout. Even if we assume that soreness represents muscle damage, research very clearly...
Soreness doesn't associate with muscle damage. Delayed onset muscle is associated with damage. If you hit yourself, if you bump your head, if you get into a car accident or you fall down or you break your arm or your leg or something, it doesn't hurt immediately right away. But when you wake up the next day, you're going to be in pain and delayed onset muscle soreness because you got an injury. So these microscopic injuries are the same type of injury. Any injury is an injury, whether it's microscopic or serious. But believe me, you're going to get a delayed onset pain the next day. That pain is going to be delayed onset. And it's going to hurt worse the next day than it did the day you got hurt. Because everybody says that. Whoever got hurt, they know.
Shows that muscle damage is not required for muscle growth, and muscle damage...
Hold on, he says muscle damage is not required for muscle growth? For which growth, sarcoplasmic or myofibrillar? It is not required for sarcoplasmic growth, but it is required for myofibrillar growth. He's lying. Hold on, let me go back here. It said something about remodeling.
That soreness represents muscle damage, research very clearly shows...
Research clearly shows muscle damage and muscle remodeling, no pain, no gain. Yeah, no pain, no gain. He didn't say here that it doesn't.
That muscle damage is not required for muscle growth, and muscle damage...
Where does it say it's not required? Where does it say it's not required? Resistance training induced changes in integrated myofibrillar protein synthesis are related to hypertrophy only after attenuation of muscle damage. Yeah, you get muscle damage. There's an increase of protein synthesis. It is extended for an entire week during the repair and the remodeling.
Does not correlate with muscle...
And you get a donation of these nuclei to support further muscle growth of that myonuclear domain.
Muscle growth or with strength development.
Or strength development? What are you talking about? Listen to what he says here. Or strength development. There's greater strength in eccentrics. Eccentric exercise per se does not affect muscle damage biomarkers, early or late phase adaptations. Yes, it does. What are you talking about? Eccentric is associated with muscle damage. there's greater force being exuded on the downforce. You can handle heavier weight on the downforce than you can concentrically. What is he talking about? There's more strength gains there. Fucking science corroborates this. All PubMed and NCBI reports, they state it is superior to concentric in every way. What makes it superior? Strength, bro. Look. Look, based on the research, eccentric exercise is generally considered superior to concentric exercise. Why? When it comes to maximizing muscle strength and muscle gains, as eccentric contractions involve muscle lengthening under tension, which can lead to greater muscle damage and subsequent adaptations when the muscle repairs itself, resulting in an increase in muscle size and strength compared to concentric contractions, where the muscle shortens while contracting. Also, eccentric exercise is associated with these fibers, bro. Get it? And fucking concentric, you get a loss of these fibers. Fuck. See, greater muscle damage, higher force production, improved tendon stiffness, specificity of training, importance of both phases. He's lying to you. He's a liar. He's a liar.
Moreover, we have direct research showing that people that respond better to training, high responders, do not get more sore than low responders. There is marked individual variation in how sore people get and how much muscle people can build, but the two do not seem to be related. Anecdotally, you can see this not just...
They are related. They are related. He's lying to you. He's fabricating this shit. He never brought up any proof. He keeps talking, but he never really brought proof. He showed you some things there just to flash you in your face. But he's lying.
Between individuals, but also between body parts within an individual. My best body parts, for example, are arguably my delts.
My community section blows him away on everything that I posted there on eccentric exercise. Go check it out. I can't bring up every single report, but I can bury him with every report. And I don't even need a lot of reports to bury him. Just the one or two I brought up already buried him right away.
And my glutes. And I almost...
He's a liar. He's a fake. He's a faker. He's a fake lifter, fake bodybuilder, fake whatever he is. I don't know.
Never get sore in either body part because I never drop.
They never get sore because you don't do eccentric lifting, you fool.
Soap. Research on protein balance shows also...
Research on protein balance shows what? The development of skeletal muscle hypertrophy through resistance training, the role of muscle damage and muscle protein synthesis. Yeah, it's increased.
Why muscle damage and muscle growth are unrelated. Muscle damage
and muscle growth are unrelated? How could they be unrelated? If something is damaged, then their growth factors are activated. Get it, man? To grow muscles. That's how muscles grow, through damage. This is very dumb.
primarily increases protein breakdown, not protein synthesis.
Yeah, we already know that. I have it in my community section. The macrophage comes out and cleans the dead tissue. Let me bring this up too. I'll blow him away on this one as well, because you know, it's worth it, because this guy's a fool, man. This guy's foolish. Let's go community section, genetic beast. I don't know if I can find it right now. Hold on a second. Should be here somewhere. Cleans up the dead tissue. The macrophage comes out. Hold on a second. Exercise, bone mineral density, stress when contracting triggers bone forming. Yes, it does. It also helps to bone and fucking everything, and you fucking name it. Smaller units, tension is no, that's not it. I don't know where it is right now. Fuck, I'd have to look through all of this. Metabolic fatigue is not that one. Muscle damage triggers the activation and release of various growth factors, which are crucial for muscle regeneration. Yeah, that's what it does. stimulating proliferation, differentiate stem cells, tissue growth, promote muscle growth. Growth factors. When muscles is damaged, increases within injured, releases growth factors, IGF-1, There is some proliferation here. Activation, satellite cells, activation. Initiates the inflammatory response. Immune cells infiltrate and injured and secrete growth factors and additional further contributing to regeneration process. The dead cells come out. It cleans up the dead cells. The macrophage cleans it up, and then it goes through this repair and remodeling shit. Inflammatory response, repair, regenerate damaged muscles, activated. I don't know where it is, man. I would have to look for it, and I don't know where I posted it now. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know where it is, man. I don't know where it is. I'd have to look for it. It's you find it. You go look in the community section. You go look there. Yeah. I don't know. I can't find it right now, but whatever. You get the point. I'm not going to spend all day here on this video.
It increases protein synthesis only to the extent to replace the broken down proteins.
No, it doesn't. It repairs and remodels it. That's what it does. He's lying. The macrophage comes out, cleans up the dead tissue. Remember, you have to lose to gain more. So what it does is macrophage and the satellite cells are activated. They clean up the dead tissue, and then they start repairing and remodeling. And then it donates its nuclei, and then that muscle hypertrophies at the end of the week.
So having more muscle damage increases total protein turnover, but not net synthesis.
No, that's a lie. You're just turning over protein doing concentric exercises. Eccentric exercises, when muscles are damaged, protein synthesis is extended, blood levels are extended, and protein synthesis is extended for an entire week during the repair and the remodeling. That is a known fact, man. It has to be. Look, I don't know if I can bring up all these things, man. They're in community section. I'm not going to go look for them now. No, when muscles are damaged, protein synthesis is not extended for an entire week. I don't know why it says that. During the repair and remodeling, it is significantly elevated for a shorter period. Okay, whatever. Typically peaking within 4 hours post-exercise and gradually returning to baseline. I don't know what they mean by that. Maybe they're just, I don't know. Anyways, 48 hours. The most significant repair occurring within the days following the muscle. Okay, so with the most significant repair occurring within the few days following the muscle damage. Man, fuck, I already brought this up. It takes so many days to repair and remodel muscles. I don't know why it says this. Hold on. When muscles are micro-damaged, blood levels are certain proteins like creatine kinase elevate as a result of muscle cell damage. And the body responds by increasing protein synthesis for an extended period to repair and remodel the damaged muscle tissue. There you go, leading to potential muscle growth over time. Key points about this process: micro tears. During intense exercise, small micro tears can occur within the muscles, triggering the repair process. Increased protein breakdown. Yeah, there's an increased protein breakdown. Immediate following muscle damage, there is a temporary increase in muscle protein breakdown, which helps clear away damaged tissue. That's what he's talking about, right? Damaged tissue. It's being fucking, pushed away or whatever. Elevated protein synthesis. The body then rapidly increases protein synthesis to rebuild the damaged muscle fibers, leading to muscle growth. Then this process is repeated over time. Satellite cells, specialized cells, whatever, are released during the repair and the remodeling, the proliferate, differentiate, blood markers. They're elevated, creatine kinase, indicate muscle damage, often use marker exercise intensity, nutrition, rest, and stimulus. Bro, like I said, I don't like going over these things over and over and over again. It gets boring. It's boring.
So good program design actually minimizes the amount of muscle damage that we experience relative.
So listen to what he says. Good programming, we experience, we don't get any more muscle damage. Well, if you don't get damaged, then your muscles will never grow. They don't grow. They don't grow myofibrillar growth. You understand me? So he's preventing you from damaging. He wants to convince you that damage doesn't grow muscles and that you should prevent that and don't get damaged, and then you'll never grow any muscles. You'll be like Menno, small, skinny, and weak Menno.
To the stimulus from
Aging, because remember, when you damage muscles, it does a lot of stuff for you. It reverses aging. It turns old muscle into new muscle. It's associated with getting rid of senescent cells and myogenic decline. A whole bunch of benefits come with muscle damage. There are no benefits with just exercising yourself to death.
muscle growth. One example that I've talked about in previous videos is training to failure. Research shows that training to failure, like complete muscular failure, induces a disproportionate amount of muscle damage and causes a disproportionate amount.
I've never heard that. Training to failure causes damage? How? How does it do that?
Of extra recovery time relative to the amount of extra muscle that you build. You build only a little bit more muscle when
What about recovery time? Us bodybuilders, we don't recover, we grow, you asshole.
you take a set to complete failure versus stopping, say, one rep short of failure.
Whatever.
But it does extend your recovery time and it reduces your work capacity because you are much more fatigued in the rest of the workout. That is not worth it. So the stimulus to fatigue ratio of training to complete and utter failure for most people is very bad. So soreness is not a sign.
Oh man, really, just listening to this guy is just a waste of time, but whatever.
You had a good workout, but surely it is a sign that your muscles are damaged, right? Again, wrong.
They don't get damaged. They don't get damaged because people aren't damaging them in gyms. They don't do eccentric exercise. Eccentric exercise is only associated with muscle damage and growth. Concentric is not associated with that.
If you are sore, there is probably some degree of muscle damage. However, the magnitude of
I
soreness
don't know what that damage is. Maybe it's minor. It could be minor. It could be a lot. It could be a lot of stuff, man. Depends on what you're doing there in the gym.
and the magnitude of muscle damage don't correlate well at all. In fact, they don't significantly correlate at all in multiple
Delayed onset muscle soreness does not reflect the magnitude of eccentric exercise-induced muscle damage. Do you even understand what that means, that statement, when they're making that statement? Does this guy even understand what they're saying? Listen to what they're saying. Delayed onset muscle soreness does not reflect the magnitude of eccentric exercise-induced muscle damage. The magnitude. So let's say you got a delayed onset muscle soreness, but it doesn't reflect the magnitude of how much damage was occurred in that session. You understand me? You're still going to get a delayed onset muscle soreness, but you don't know how much damage you got, but you still got some damage, right? But here's the thing. I already did a study on this. There's 3 stages of damage. There could be very minor damage, a lot of damage, and extremely a lot of damage. If it's extremely minor, then your body just forgoes the repair and remodeling. It doesn't want to grow any muscles, okay? So there you go. That's why you have to overwork that muscle to really give it a good damage. You understand me? That is the point. So is it still associated with damage, delayed onset muscle soreness? Yes, it says right here, delayed onset muscle soreness. It is associated with what? Eccentric exercise-induced muscle damage. It just doesn't reflect the magnitude of how much damage you've occurred. A lot of the stuff he's saying, he's trying to fake you out.
studies. Muscle soreness also doesn't correlate with a variety of other measures of
What do you mean? What do you mean? Hold on a second. What did he say?
magnitude of muscle damage don't correlate well at all. In fact, they don't significantly correlate at all in multiple studies. Muscle soreness
Hold on. Damage and the repeated bout effect, arm, leg, trunk, muscles induced by eccentric resistance exercise. Yeah, repeated bout effect protects muscle from a repeated bout of muscle damage. And what about it?
also doesn't correlate with a variety of other measures of muscle.
What other measures? Myofiber damage in human skeletal muscle affects Or electrical stimulation versus voluntary contractions. I don't know. What about electrical shit? He doesn't make any sense. There's no proof. It's just a statement.
Muscular recovery, in particular simply recovery of strength itself. For example,
Recovery
one
of what? Recovery of strength. What are you talking about?
variety of
The repeat about effect. Hold on. The next
other measures
not this one. The next
of muscular recovery, in particular simply recovery of
muscle damage and soreness after endurance exercise of the elbow flexors. I'm not an endurance runner, bro. Get it? If you're running, you're gonna get some damage in your legs because it's eccentric running. It's eccentric. You're not running backwards concentrically. This is just full of shit, garbage.
strength itself. For example, one study measured the amount of muscle
The effects of training status on the serum creatine kinase, soreness, and muscle function. Yeah, they talk about that. Okay.
soreness and muscle damage in a group of untrained individuals versus a group of trained weightlifters after a heavy leg day.
What about trained and untrained? You can be a trained lifter and do eccentric exercise and still get damaged. What are you talking about? This guy's stupid.
Surprisingly, the weightlifters actually experienced a little bit more soreness than the untrained individuals, showing that the amount of
Okay, here's the thing. Don't ever do any eccentric exercises and don't build your bodies. Don't get big and strong. That's it. Listen to Menno, right? Menno's telling you don't get damaged. Don't get damaged. Be a comfortable slave and never build any muscles. Get it? And then you will never build any muscles. Get it? Listen to Menno. That's all. You don't have to listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to Menno because Menno knows best. Do not get damaged. Don't get damaged. Be a comfortable lifting slave so you never build any muscles. Yay!
soreness and the amount of muscle damage don't correlate well at all, and sometimes
They don't, do they? Why not? Why don't they?
go in opposite directions. Another study
Doesn't your body adapt? Doesn't your body adapt to the weights that cause that damage? What causes damage? Eccentric, right? So how does your body adapt? How does your body adapt? By growing bigger and stronger to handle heavier loads, going eccentrically. Yeah.
he compared endurance training and heavy strength training, and they
What
measured
about endurance training, heavy strength training? I don't do endurance lifting. I'm not an endurance athlete. I'm a bodybuilder. Muscle damage and soreness after endurance exercise. Yeah, again, he brings this thing up again.
the amount of muscle damage and the strength loss that occurred after both workouts. Of course, there was not a lot of strength loss after the endurance training.
Yeah, there's reduced right after. If you get a huge amount of muscle damage, micro tears in the muscles, these micro damages, then yeah, there's reduced force capacity, range of motion, a bunch of things. You're going through a repair and remodeling now. You're getting some ultrastructural benefits there. What are you talking about? Extracellular matrix and shit.
The endurance training was relatively
You're going to increase the sarcomere number in muscle fibers. Here, look. He says muscle damage doesn't build muscles. He says eccentric exercise, which damages muscles, doesn't build muscles, but science will corroborate everything I say. Oh, how about that? Eccentric exercise, which involve muscle lengthening under load, are strongly associated with an increase in the number of sarcomeres within muscle fibers, primarily due to the added stress placed on the muscle during the lengthening phase, leading to the greater need for structural adaptations and the addition of new sarcomeres in series within the muscle fibers. And yeah, he says eccentric exercise which damages muscles, they don't build muscles. Okay. That's what he says. What it says here, it builds muscles. Builds muscles, broski. Undergo eccentric contractions. Force be lengthened, causing significant mechanical tension, stimulate the addition of new series and new sarcomeres in series, effectively increasing muscles length and potential force production. Yeah. That's what it does, bro. Yeah. So, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, that guy. He's crazy, man. He's crazy, dude. He's crazy. Whatever.
easy to recover from, at least this time.
Look, I'm just having fun with this video. I don't care about this guy. He's stupid.
Of endurance training in this particular study. And within about a day, most strength had returned to baseline, and within 2 days, there was no longer significant.
Look, I'm talking from experience. I have experience lifting, okay? And I'm going to tell you, that damage causes muscle. It it activates the growth factors, and then you go and eat. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to see that mass on that myofibrillar. It goes through a cleanup phase, and then it goes through a release phase, and then it donates its nuclei, and then it hypertrophies by the end of the week. That's it. Then you come back and repeat and go heavier every time eccentrically.
Strength loss. However, this was actually the period when muscle soreness was at its peak, 24 to 48 hours later, which is typical for muscle soreness.
Okay, let's see. What is this muscle soreness stuff that he keeps talking about? DOMS, right? Let's see what does that mean. Let's go to NCBI now. So this is from NCBI. Delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS part 1. Let's see what this DOMS really is. Delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, is a type of ultrastructural muscle injury. The manifestation of DOMS is caused by eccentric or unfamiliar forms of exercise. Clinical signs include reduced force capacities, increased painful restriction of movement, stiffness, swelling, and dysfunction of adjacent joints. That's how you know you achieved a level of damage. Although DOMS is considered a mild type of injury, mild, it is one of the most common reasons for compromised sportive performance because bodybuilding compromises sportive performance. That's why bodybuilding can't be a sport. So while you're building your body, it's not based on sports because it compromises your sportive performance. During the building phase, during the bodybuilding phase, get it? See what I mean? It is not based on performance or endurance or any of these things. It can't be. It's impossible. So in the past, it says here, in the past few decades, many hypotheses have been developed to explain the etiology of DOMS. Although the exact physiological pathway remains unknown, the primary mechanism is currently considered to be the ultrastructural damage of muscle cells due to unfamiliar sporting activities or eccentric exercise, which leads to further protein degradation, apoptosis, and local inflammatory response. The development of clinical symptoms, they last about 48 hours, and then here's a building phase, okay? So that's what it does. That's just that. And anyway, so yeah, that's just that part. But it grows muscles, like it says here. That's what it does. There's so much on it, man. I can't bring it all up. I told you, it's impossible.
Heavy strength training workout cost considerably more strength loss and far longer lasting.
No, you adapt by getting stronger. Every week you come back, you've adapted because your muscles grew bigger and stronger. They can handle heavier loads without, you got to cause these micro injuries to the deeper, weaker muscle fibers and keep getting bigger and stronger.
Strength loss, yet muscle soreness ratings were very similar. This is a typical theme we see in the literature on muscle soreness. Muscle soreness usually displays the same.
What do you see in the literature? There's so much on the literature and eccentric training, bro. There's so much, man. I've done videos on it. I talk about it. This is it, bro. I can't bring it all up in one video, okay?
Kind of pattern. You get sore a few hours after the workout, up to a full day after the workout, and it lasts 1 to 2 days after. That's when you get the peak.
Depends. It can last 3-4 days. Depends how much damage you get. Maybe minimal, maybe 1 to 2 days. Depends. I don't know.
And then usually about 3 days after, it's mostly gone. And the degree of muscle damage, the intensiveness of the...
That doesn't mean that the repair and the remodeling is done. It's not done yet, just because the pain went away from the damage.
Workouts, all of these things, they don't actually change the time course of the muscle soreness that much. Okay. We also see that certain types of exercise, such as electrically invoked muscle contractions, can cause considerably more muscle damage than conventional strength training, yet they don't actually make...
That's okay, whatever, man. I'm not using any electrical devices to damage my muscles. They did that study on rats and shit or something.
Because more sore. Conversely, we have research that high protein intakes can speed up muscular recovery without affecting muscle soreness. On the other hand, we have research on...
Yeah, but we're not trying to recover. We're not trying to recover. We're trying to grow, Menno. We don't want to recover from exercises. We want to grow from our exercises. There's a difference, you dumbass.
Certain recovery techniques like ice and heat, these typically have significant effects on the amount of pain that we experience, so they reduce muscle soreness but they don't actually do anything to speed up.
If you reduce the inflammation and soreness by using these things, well, guess what? You're going to fuck up the repair and the remodeling.
The tissue healing process, so they don't affect markers of muscle damage and muscular performance. Overall, it's clear that muscle soreness is not a reliable indicator of your recovery status. There are two main reasons for this.
Okay, now he talks about recovery status. Whatever.
First, soreness is a sensation and it has a very large neural component. You can even have pain in a limb you no longer have. That's called phantom limb pain. So there's a distinction between...
What does that have to do with bodybuilding and delayed onset muscle soreness? Oh man, this guy, muscle damage. Man, this guy's like out to lunch.
the triggering of the pain receptors and the actual amount of muscle damage. You can
Yeah.
even have pain, evidently, in places where there is no muscle damage.
Okay.
And muscle damage doesn't necessarily have to stimulate
Okay, and what?
pain receptors. So the sensation of the pain is more of a neural interpretation of the amount of muscle damage that there is, if it's even related to muscle damage, rather than a direct
But you admit though it's associated with muscle damage.
representation thereof. Second, muscle soreness is sometimes not even related to muscle damage at all. Muscle damage can be related to damage in the connective
In the connective tissue. Well, the connective tissue gets damaged lifting weights too. Here's the funny part. The connective tissue and the muscle, they both get damaged. But he's trying to tell you you're getting one without the other.
tissues rather than the muscle. So sometimes it's not even the muscle tissue that's triggering the sensation to begin with, it's the surrounding connective tissues. Anecdotally,
And why is the surrounding tissues just damaged but not the muscles? Can you explain that, Mr. Menno?
perhaps the easiest way you can tell that soreness is not reflective of recovery capacity is that you can often train through soreness and it doesn't make
Recovery, we're bodybuilders. We don't recover, we grow. We don't care about recovering. We're not endurance slaves. We're not performing slaves, dude. It's compromising our performance when we do eccentric exercises, you fool.
it worse. Often it actually gets better, and that's because of the repeated bout effect. Repeated what? The repeated bout effect is the name for the phenomenon that after we do a certain type of workout or stimulus, we get a lot less sore from it the second time, even if that second time is...
Yeah, I can explain that. The repeated bout effect protects muscle from a repeated bout of damage. But the reason why you're getting less sore with repeated bouts, he's got it wrong, with repeated bouts, is because your muscles have repaired and remodeled a lot stronger now, so they're resilient from further assaults because your exercises are now concentric. And so when you're lowering the weight, it's too light. It's too light going down. Remember, you need more load on the eccentric going down than you would going up in the opposite direction to cause what? In the lengthened position, to cause the muscle to damage. So then it can adapt by coming back bigger and stronger. See what I mean? He doesn't even know how to explain this shit.
a long period afterwards. You can experience this for yourself. Whenever you start a new program, you usually get sore, just because it's new. And that's basically all that...
No, not necessarily. You can get damage doing a new program if you're untrained, unfamiliar, and unaccustomed exercises get that damage. But eccentric exercise gets that damage. Eccentric exercises damage muscles. Get it? See what I mean? You can still be accustomed to doing these exercises as a trained person, but you're doing eccentric exercise, it'll get you damaged. Yeah. Is providing the load is heavier than the last time. Get it? And then it'll adapt by getting bigger and stronger, the muscles.
Muscle soreness really tells you that you did something new.
You also get more sarcomere number in muscle fibers. It's corroborated by science, okay? Eccentric exercise. This damage.
It's a novel stimulus. I myself, I never really get sore anymore from strength training. And that's in particular...
Of course he doesn't get sore from concentric training, from concentric lifting, because concentric lifting is not associated with damage. Only eccentric exercises, it's associated with muscle damage, because that's how it adapts to the weights. It adapts by growing bigger and stronger. You understand me? To the eccentric lifts. That's how those muscles adapt. Here's the thing. How do muscles adapt to concentric lifting? Easy. By neural drive. Neural drive, that's how it adapts. Through neural drive and some androgen receptors. You know, these hormones binding to the androgen receptors because it's concentric lifting. So that's how it adapts. Okay, how do muscles adapt to eccentric lifting? It's easy. Because it's the lengthened position, it causes relative damage to the muscle fibers. So the muscles adapt to those heavy loads by doing what? By damaging, repairing, and remodeling, and adapting by getting bigger and stronger. That's how it does it. Da.
In part because I do high frequency training, which has been shown to reduce muscle soreness levels, but it's
Yeah, high frequency training. He is a performing endurance slave now in the gym. And remember, real bodybuilding eccentric lifting, it compromises sportive performance. So it cannot be based on performance if it compromises sportive performance. Get it? So we're not performing slaves or endurance slaves.
also because I'm simply used to the types of workouts. If I do something completely new,
Yeah, you can keep flashing those things over there, but you can't even read them. They went by so fast. This is just to fool you. I brought these little titles. I brought these little statements. I flashed them through the screen. He didn't improve anything.
do get sore. And I experience this, funny enough, the most when I do snowboarding or surfing. These
Yeah, if you stand there long enough, bro, I'll get sore too if I fucking surf for 10 hours. What the fuck? Even factory workers lifting boxes all day for 8 hours a day. You think they're not sore when they go home? But that's not based on delayed onset muscle soreness. They got sore because they were standing in a position that made them sore. See what I mean? That's not based on muscle damage.
things always make me very sore, but of course I'm not going to gain any muscle from those.
Of course not. Why would you gain muscles from lifting boxes all day in the factory for 8 hours and you go home sore and inflamed? That's just stupid. But muscle damage, micro tears are based on delayed onset muscle soreness because it's based on injury. You didn't get injured. Get it, dude? Snowboarding, you fool.
Conclusion, being sore is a sensation that's very distinct from muscle damage and especially from muscle growth. Being sore
Holy shit, man. Like, we already know this. You could wear yourself out and get sore. Yeah, wear yourself out doing sports all day, playing ice hockey with your friends on the ice for 8 hours straight. Fuck me. That has nothing to do. If the muscles didn't get injured, then there's no damage. That's not delayed.
does not mean you had a good workout. It also doesn't mean you're not recovered yet. You can train through the soreness and it usually doesn't make it worse, often actually makes it better. So soreness doesn't
What soreness? You mean being worn out soreness? You got wore out from the last session? Or delayed onset muscle soreness?
actually have any programming implications for most people. Of course, you want to apply a little bit of common sense. If you're so sore that after a warm-up you still cannot perform an exercise with full range of motion, then you probably want to skip it. So the talk long, didn't watch, answer to the question, what does soreness tell us, is none.
What does soreness tell us? Well, if it's a very heavy delayed onset muscle soreness and it lasts for 4 days, it can tell you it's a very deep soreness, a delayed onset muscle soreness, and it lasts between 3 and 4 days. Then you know you have really caused enough muscle damage to grow those muscles. They'll adapt by growing bigger and stronger.
If you like this type of evidence-based fitness content, I'd be honored if you like and subscribe. You might be interested in the online hands-on PT certificate.
No, I'm not interested in any of his bullshit, man. He just brings up a lot of bullshit on his channel. I'll see you in the next one. Tell what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I told you, this is the kind of fitness gurus you're dealing with on the internet. You understand me? This is the shit, the garbage you're dealing with. You understand, man? You understand these fitness people? They don't know anything about bodybuilding. They're so dumb. They don't know anything about bodybuilding whatsoever. Fuck me. Nobody knows how to train properly. Not even this fuck.